Welcome, you're tuned into Market Cafe right here on ET Now. I'm Srishti Sharma and with me is Kanishka Sarkar, and this is the show where we get you ready for all the trading action for today. We'll not just tell you that how were the global checks, the top stories of the day. Along with that, we also tell you the stocks that you should be keeping on your radar in today's trading session. So let's get started. And Kanishka, firstly, let's start with how did the US market pan out yesterday?
Absolutely, Srishti. First of all, a very good morning to you. And you know what, with Wall Street, another day and another record high for the street. Now with AI stocks this time yet again powering the markets higher, even as the US government shutdown that entered its third day. First up, let's take a look at the indices. Now, S&P 500, that closed up just about 0.06%, whereas the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that gained nearly 80 points or 0.2%. Whereas the tech-heavy nasdaq index, that's the one that outperformed, gaining nearly 0.4%. This, of course, was driven by near a percent rally that we saw in Nvidia to record levels yesterday. Now, other chip makers like Intel and AMD, they also advanced more than 3% in yesterday's trading session. Still, the shutdown is raising some concerns. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that 750,000 federal workers in the US, they are being furloughed daily, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent even warning of a hit to the GDP and jobs. Now, this data blackout that has already delayed the key September jobs report. Now, that leaves Fed with less guidance ahead of its October policy meeting. Now, going forward, the street is going to track the duration of the shutdown that's been happening in the US, the impact it will have on the economic momentum and any shifts in the Fed commentary. So for now, despite the policy gridlock, US equities remain on track for weekly gains, with the S&P 500 up more than 1%, Dow up more than 0.5%, whereas the nasdaq, that's the one that is outperforming with nearly 1.5% gains for this week. So that's about the US market, Srishti. But how are things looking on the crude front?
Quite exciting, because oil is actually set for its worst week in over 3 months right now, and it's very close to that 4-month low or level. As of now, we are seeing a bit of a decline coming in on the back of the oversupply concerns, because do remember that OPEC plus decisions will be the key to watch out for. But along with that, yes, of course, it's not just the Brent crude oil, but the WTI, as of today in the morning, when I checked in, it was almost a 2% decline coming in on both the crude oil prices. Now, along with that, it was the gold that was seeing a bit of a movement, a bit of a cool off from those high levels is what we have seen on the back of Fed Logan's commentary coming in on inflation, taking cues from that, where he's saying that he will be very cautious on the rate cuts as the inflation is seen to be trending higher, and because of that, a bit of a decline on the gold prices is what we have seen. Just yesterday, it was a 1% cut coming in, but as of now, it's almost a 0.3% gain on the gold oil prices, very well above that 3,800 per ounce mark. But talking about the OPEC plus decision, OPEC Plus is weighing whether to speed up the oil production hikes again, and after boosting the output by 1.4 lakh barrels per day in October, wherein reports say that the group could raise November's hike to as much as 4.1 lakh barrels per day, with Saudi Arabia pushing to regain the market share. But Russia, limited by sanctions and wary of weak demand, is uncomfortable with a big jump.